John and Rev Walsh welcomed their son Adam Walsh into the world on November 14, 1974. The young Walsh was an only child and the joy of his parents' lives as he grew up in Hollywood, Florida. He was only 6 years old when he was kidnapped and killed. Adam Walsh and his mother visited the Sears store in their neighborhood mall on July 27, 1981. Once there, Rev went for shopping, leaving little standing Adam watch some older teenagers play video games. Rev went to get her kid after less than 10 minutes had passed, but he was nowhere to be found. Rev approached a store employee out of the concern and requested that they put out a page requesting Adam to come to customer service. There was, however, no reaction. 2 hours later, the police were contacted and a land and helicopter search was launched. John aided uniformed officers in their search as Rev and Adam's grandmother explored the mall. A security guard who was employed at Sears at the time came forward and claimed that he had kicked out the youngsters Adam had been watching as they were getting into mischief, and he remembered seeing Adam with them. Adam was taken hostage not long after this, according to police. After searching for Adam for 4 days without success, John and Rev appeared on Good Morning America to ask for assistance. The FBI became involved in the investigation a few days later. 2 fishermen found Adam Walsh's decapitated head on August 10, 1981, in a canal off the Florida Turnpike near Vero Beach, roughly 120 miles from where he had vanished. Adam's corpse was never discovered. Early on in the inquiry, witnesses reported seeing a tall, powerful man drag Adam into a blue van after following him out of Sears. Police searched for the van as a result, but they were unsuccessful. Further research proved these sightings to be false. Adam's family members were exonerated of any participation in his disappearance and slaying. John and Rev passed lie detector tests. Police stated on October 21, 1983, that they had captured serial killer Otis Toole, who had killed Adam. Toole admitted to kidnapping the little child from the mall, taking him an hour away to a remote dirt road, and having Henry Lee Lucas use a bayonet to decapitate him there. At the time of disappearance, police noted that witnesses had seen Toole's car, a white 1971 Cadillac, at the mall. Police pulled Toole's car in for inspection after his confession. They discovered blood, but they couldn't tell if it was Adam's due to the primitive technology of the period. However, Toole's story started to fall apart, and since he had a history of confessing to crimes he was not a part of, some people believe that he was lying about being involved. The first flaw in the narrative concerns Lucas's participation. Lucas was in prison in Virginia at the time of kidnapping. There was no way he could have been involved. Additionally, Toole was unable to define Adam's hair color or his attire. He also failed to recognize the young child who was listed as missing on a poster, and Toole's body wasn't where he'd claimed it would be. This gave rise to the theory that a Jacksonville detective had provided him with case information in an effort to secure a book deal, but this was later disproved. Ultimately, Toole recanted his confession, and because of lack of evidence, the prosecutor was unable to charge him. Despite these discrepancies, Toole was still a top suspect in the case since he was aware of some information that only the murderer would have. A girl reportedly said Toole had approached her cart at the shopping center where Adam vanished and asked her if she wanted to ride in the basket of the cart he was pushing. She recognized Toole because of the gap in his teeth. Along with Toole, numerous more names were mentioned during the investigation. One of them was serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, who was in Florida at the time of Adam's kidnapping and murder. Although witnesses said they saw a man matching his description at the mall, authorities ultimately disregarded the account. Another suspect was a family friend and landscaper who had ended a relationship with Rev Walsh 2 weeks before. Police suspected that he may have killed Adam in retaliation, but he was cleared after a lie detector test. The investigation went cold due to a lack of leads, until a 1994 development called into doubt about the professionalism of the Hollywood Police Department. New DNA tests were requested for Toole's automobile and the blood-stained carpet samples by the detective who had just taken over the investigation. However, it turned out that both pieces of evidence had vanished and were never found. Toole passed away from liver disease in prison on September 15, 1996. On his deathbed, he confessed to his niece that he had actually killed Adam. She phoned in this admission to America's Most Wanted, which was being hosted at the time by John Walsh. No one came forward to claim Toole's remains, thus his body was buried at the state prison. The Hollywood Police Department held a press conference in 2018 to declare that Toole was Adam's murderer and that the investigation had been concluded. They said the evidence they had wasn't DNA related and they wouldn't go into specifics. They had decided against asking for a posthumous indictment. The department publicly apologized to the Walsh family and recognized the multiple errors that had been made during the inquiry at the news conference. After Adam's passing, John and Rev Walsh eventually had 3 more children: Megan, Hayden, and Callahan. The Adam Walsh Outreach Center for Missing Children was founded 2 years shortly after his passing. The kidnapping and murder of Adam in the United States caused a sharp increase in public concern about stranger abductions. Officials, however, stated that in reality, most threats to children come from family and those close to them. Adam's tragedy served as the catalyst for a number of efforts aimed at finding missing children. Faces were printed on milk cartons, grocery bags, and posters sent in mailboxes, which prompted the development of fingerprinting programs and boosted security at schools and stores. Additionally, it served as a basis for the establishment of missing people units at all major police agencies nationwide. Under the 1982 Missing Children's Act, missing children must be reported to the National Crime Information Center of the FBI. In 1988, John Walsh debuted on America's Most Wanted on Fox, the first of many programs he would appear on in relation to crime in America. He also hosts The Hunt with John Walsh on CNN right now. Big box stores all throughout the country started using Code Adam calls in 1994, which requires store employees to mobilize when a child is reported missing. The Adam Walsh Child Protection and Safety Act, signed by President George W. Bush in 2006, extended the National Sex Offenders Register and established a National Child Abuse Registry.